Hello and welcome to Georgie's Gundogs at Trails for Tails Dog Training. Happy New Year, everybody! Hope you've all had a lovely Christmas and a fantastic New Year's. I had a cracking time. I was away in the lakes at the fabulous Wheelgate B&B up in Coniston. Absolutely stunning. So if you ever want a little lovely holiday with your Gundogs, it's a fantastic place to be. Great ground round there to train on, but also fantastic walks and fantastic hosts there. So if you ever want to have a dog holiday with your dogs or you're up in the lakes, highly recommend that place. So I'm back. I'm hoping to crack on with these videos now. I've had quite a busy few months. I wanted to do this video first though, because I said I would, which is when is the right time to take a dog on a shoot, okay, or a test or a trial or whatever, okay. So I wanted to talk about things to be aware of, things that you know when you might be ready, what type of shoots you might want to go. This is for those who've never been there. Some of you might be watching this and you're thinking, I've already brought a dog on and stuff like that. That's fine, but you never know, you might learn something different. So this is how I would look at it, how I would go forwards to whether my dog is ready or not, stuff like that, okay. So and just to let you know, like I said, there's more videos coming up. Again, hello subscribers, new subscribers, lovely comments I've had while I've been away a little bit on the videos. Like I said, I'm going to get back at this because I'm really enjoying you guys enjoying the video, so I'm going to make it my mission to try and get a video up every so many weeks or so, okay. So it's the beginning of the new year. It's January 2023. Okay, so I thought this is actually quite a good time to put a video up about this, because this is actually when you have a novice dog or a dog that hasn't been exposed to shooting as much. It's a really good time of year to take it because there's less birds in January, okay, especially if you're going on anything with birds. The birds start dying off now because it's when at the beginning of the season there can be really quite a lot of them down, again depending on what shoot you're on. So what's the first question? Let's talk about age, because age is a big discussion of when is the right time to bring my dog on, okay. So we're going to talk about these early stage elements, how you know. Firstly, personally, importantly for me, is I personally wouldn't take a dog that is a young dog on a thing. So I've seen people put stuff up on the internet saying, I'm going to take my dog out and it's 6 months old. For me, that is way too young. No matter what training you've done, that is way too young. All I would do, so if you're already on a shoot and you have experience of the dogs and stuff, I personally, the most I'll do with a young dog on a shoot is, so my pup has been shooting with me, but he's not been on action, so he hasn't. So in between drives on a shoot, so drives are the times when, like, so for example, I do beating, is when we are beating the birds down to be flushed over to the guns that are around, okay. Again, it depends on what shoot you're on. So we might have to talk about what type of shoots there is, isn't there? That's where this is going. So you know me, I go off the cuff. So there's different types of shoots that you might be doing with your dog, or you've been invited to, or you'd like to do. So there you've got, so I do driven shoots, okay. So driven shoots are when we drive the birds towards the guns, okay. So we have like a flushing point. I'm on a small one, I'm on a fairly larger one. So what this entails is we'll have a line of beaters, which you call the beating lines. The beaters are the ones who push up the birds to be shot over the guns. So the guns are usually outside wherever the beat is, whether that woods, cover crop, bracket, doesn't matter, right? Okay, it doesn't matter what the cover, but they'll have a beat, and then the guns will be around, so they'll be assigned to their peg each. They have a number on each peg, okay, and that is where them guns will be, away from where we're beating, and we'll be beating towards them. So they're either around it, in front of it. It depends on what your beat is. So the beat is where we are beating through the birds, okay. On majority of shoots, we are pushing the birds to get down to the flushing point. So that's the end. So there's a nice flushing point for the guns. They have some good shots. Obviously, along the way, you will flush the odd one out going across. You'll have your beaters in the beating line. They'll have the flags. You'll have the main keeper who's got his horn and everything, and we'll be tapping away, knocking on wood, sticks, clapping, making a little bit of noise, pushing them nice and quietly, and working the dogs in front of us, depending on the chute. Some chutes might say, can you not work your dog to the end of the drive? Again, I'll come back to that about experience and what to expose your young dog to. It depends on the chute. So my little one, they just want you to hunt it down. On my large one, they like you to keep the dogs with you until you get to the flushing point, and then you can hunt your dogs to the flushing point. Again, it depends on your dog. Some dogs can manage really close. Some can walk at heel for a little bit as they're going down. So then we get to flushing point, flush the birds up. Okay. Then we also have rough shooting. So rough shooting is where you have some guns and the dogs are working and you're just walking around. The guns are in a line usually with the dogs working, and you're working as you go along. So you'll be hunting it up. There'll be a shot. You're steady to the shot, flush, a little bit like trialing if you're spaniel in, especially. Steady to shot, send your dog for that bird. So it's more rough shooting. It's a bit more natural in a sense. But they're all working together, so you work in the hedge lines, woods, bracken, whatever your shoot is, and the guns are walking along with you, so they're not on a particular peg. Okay, so again, you can get training days with these, and you can also get your smaller farm shoots are quite popular on these. They like to just walk around and knock some birds up. They fed some through a thing, not had many down. So that is rough shooting. Then you've also got your wild fowling. So your wild fowling is when they are in the hides and they've got so they are waiting for the birds to come in. For example, let's choose ducks. So they might be there waiting for the certain times of the morning, like really early or on an evening, and they're waiting for what they call duck flighting. So they're waiting for the ducks to come up. They're usually wild, come up and see if they get it. Some days they get nothing. Some wildfowlers will know up to us. Some days they get nothing. Some days they get everything. Okay, but the dog is sat there in the hide really quietly. They have to be quiet, hidden, and as soon as the flight comes in, that's when the action kicks off. Again, that is a different criteria. So it's finding out what your dog is really going to be doing in shoot wise. Really, again, if you're looking at trials, that's a totally different ball game altogether. You want to expose your dogs to game, but in a very, very controlled manner, because obviously on trials you cannot move an inch. Okay, but I could go on into too much detail here. I am aware of that. All right, so it's first knowing what your goal is, what you want to do with your dog. So then you have to say, what is the right age? What type of shoot? Because when I've got a young dog, I don't want to be exposed to a million birds or a million of everything. Okay. I want to do it very gradually. So I want the right age as well because of maturity and training. For me, anything under 16, 18 months, I think we're on a bit of a fine line. It depends on the dog again, though, like everything, because some dogs mature quicker than others. I personally didn't take Sid, expose him to game till this season, where he was coming up to 18 months, and I felt he was ready in his training, because I see a lot of people take the dogs or have asked questions online saying, can I walk my dog around? And it's actually not even done that much training in itself to be able to cope with that. This is an exciting thing for a lot of these dogs. Also, you might have some dogs that aren't confident with shot and sound. These are things you have to expose way before you bring them onto a shoot. I personally, with my puppies, because I'm very fortunate, I have two fantastic shoots, I can bring my pups along. So in between drives, so when there's a break going on and there's no action going on, I'll bring Pup out, I'll mooch him about on lead around the other beaters, the guns, stuff like that. So he's exposed to the environment. So it's a good social learning. Okay, so it's learning the environment. But I also do a little bit of training on there as well. So I might find a little quiet area, do a little bit so he can learn to work with me through that scent. He can learn not putting him on birds, not going into any drives, ruining anything. The keeper knows what I'm doing. I'm just exposing him to the environment, learning him to listen to me in it, but not actually putting him in anything where they can go wrong. Because the last thing I want is a young dog flushing birds. I just don't want it. I want to put the control in first. Okay, I'm not one for letting dogs chase things before they learn it. No, you're going to learn to be steady first, and I want you to be able to recognize things. And also in the car, they can hear the shot at a distance in a nice, safe place in the bed, maybe with a chew or something, where they are taking it all in, but in a safe way. Okay, do not, because I see so many dogs ruined by put on too soon. Okay, so don't put them on too soon. If you do want to go and mooch about, do it in between when the action happens. Just leave your dog in the car or leave your dog at home, if you can't even manage that, because some shoots, like my little shoot, it's a whole walk through. Okay, so we walk all the way around, even though it's a driven, we don't have any particular breaks in between. Where my other shoot, we drive to every location, so I can do stuff with the pup and stuff. All right, so it all depends on what your shoot does. In the early stage, especially if you've never been shooting, go without a dog and learn what is going on. Okay, so many people want to go with the dog, but the problem with having a dog and you've never been done it before is you can't take all the information in, because you've got something you have to focus on. Okay, you can't just walk around and drag the dog about and try and take it all in. It's not fair on the dog, and it's not fair on yourselves for your learning. So go without the dog. Okay, go without it. Ask the keeper, ask for help where you can, get beating. Beating is the best way to learn about everything. Watch other people learn the dogs. You'll see some you're like, I want my dog like that. You see some, maybe not, because not everyone is perfect. Okay, so um, be aware of what you want. Make sure you've done real solid training as well. Go and see a Gundog trainer. Tell them what your lane is, what you want to do. Okay, I want to pick up, or I want to be, or I want to trial, I want to do this. You know, so they have an idea of what you're training towards. So I always ask mine, especially those who want to go shooting, what is it you actually want to do? Because sometimes you can throw your dog into everything, it can ruin a lot of things. Okay, so with this young dog, you have to put these elements in, these foundation, and make sure. So get the advice of trying. Do you think my dog's ready? How can I approach a shoot? So make sure in your first season, if you're thinking, right, I want to go, but I don't feel the dog's quite ready, or I'm not sure. Go on your own. Go and help out where you can. Shoots can't beat helping. Find a nice little local one. I personally, with a novice dog, you want the quiet shoot. So I exposed Sid onto my small shoot first. He's only done a little bit on the large shoot, but I'm not too bothered. Again, he's only done 2 days on that. That'll do him for that. Okay, and I pick particular drives where I can see him working in front of me. On the little shoot, again, I'm very particular what drives I'm picking. So when you do feel ready, you don't need to do every drive. You don't need to pick up on every drive. You don't need to beat on every drive. You'll just do a little bit, put the dog away, build them up, get them used to it. Because once they start being exposed to game, your training is going to take to the next level. Sid has ramped tenfold, and I knew that would come. So I've been very careful. Sometimes I give him quite a break in between and just gone flagging on my own. And I'm a trainer. Yeah, I'm like, actually, you've done quite a lot. I can see you're ramping and doing a few things that I don't want to lose with you. So I'm going to pull you out. I'm going to go beating without you. And in between, I might do some more, and then I'll bring you out after you've had a couple of weeks rest. So he's not been in every week, because he'll never come down off it. Because that's another thing you've got to be aware of. Once they get into it and they kick into that dopamine, that's 92 hours they've got to come off that. And they love it. And if you keep exposing them too many, so I shoot every twice a week to twice a week. Could do 3, but I'm not going to twice a week. That's the middle of the week, and then at the weekend, he's not really going to be off it. He'll be like, oh, I remember that. And he's probably going to do more stuff that I don't want him to do on the second day that week. So I give him massive breaks in between. This is first thing. I'm not rushing my damn dog, and I'm not ruining my damn dog. Too many people ruin their dogs too soon because you're too keen to get the dog out. Use that wisely. They have gotten for you for life, right? So you need to be careful in what you expose them to and what you do. So let's say you feel like they're fairly ready. Okay, let's go beating first. So if you were beating, you want to find the drives with a bit of cover in that they're happy to work in, and you want to do a little bit of hunting, not too many birds, like I said, when you first expose them to. So you want to find them smaller shoots, because them large ones, I'm telling you now, you'll blow your dog's head. Okay, some of them don't even need dogs personally, right? So you want to be there working your dog. Do a little bit, have them on lead. Do a little bit, have them on lead. If you've got good off leader, put them into heel. So I put Sid into a lot into heel work when I'm going through the drives, because he's really good, and I can let him watch and go away. Anything with big flashes as well, I personally don't put young dogs into, because he just learn to go forwards and he learn to lose the head and flush a load of birds up. I'll do a little bit, get the odd flush here and there. That's all I want to do. Another thing I might do is, if there's drives that need dogging in and I don't like that particular drive, I'll go and dog in the hedges. So dogging in means pushing birds over into these drives for when that drive is needed. Okay, so I might say to the guy, I'm going to go and do them hedges. I don't want to do that particular drive with Sid. And I'll be like working the hedges, because there's never usually that many in there. So I get a little bit, I keep control, I keep him close because I hunt them. and I get the flushes, but in a controlled manner where he can't go wrong. That's another thing. If you go wrong, you're going to get people on your back. Okay, I'm not everybody, and some shoots are a little laid back than others, but especially those who are paying big money them days. They don't need to see your dog run down the beating line and just ruin everything. You don't want that. Okay, so you have to be really cautious of what you do. That's why when you go without a dog, you study your drives and go, actually, yeah, they'd work all right in it. Oh, that one they'd run forwards. That one there's a bit too much flat cover. You can get to learn the ground. So I like when I first have him as cover, I can see him fairly thick, but I can see him working. I don't want him going in big woods where I can't see and they're just disappearing everywhere, because I'll lose the partner before they disappear and they see you're not concentrating. They could be gone, especially those with strong noses. There are ones that Sid is a puller, and he's really pulled this season. I have to really work hard on that, and that's why I was like, I'm not overexposing you because I don't want to lose that beautiful pattern that we have worked on. Okay, because also I want to do work competition with him, so I'm even more anal because of what I want to do next season. So I'm not fussed about getting him out that much this season, here and there. So he's not green on game for next season, and he'll probably do more training days. He's done a couple of training days this season as well, so that's the rough shooting side of things. But I've been very careful. And do you know what? When people say, oh, don't worry about it, you got to stand up for your dog. Do what's right for you and your dog and what you're comfortable with. Okay? So in the beat picket, have a little bit of lead, put them in a bit of thick cover, do a little bit, bring them out. Right, great, well done. Bring them up and down. And then give them a break for a bit, bring them out later, or like I said, do some dogging in. So pick your drives wisely. There's no need to rush it. Make sure as well you've got that training in, okay? Do a little bit. Explain to the person who's running it that this is a novice dog, because they might know where to put you as well. Say, look, I don't want to do this, but I'm happy to do that. Give yourself. So you're setting you and your dog up for success. There's no need to rush, okay? Because honestly, they always change on game because that's what they're bred to do. Okay, so if you're picking up, I personally ask my lot to do a lot of sitting and watching behind the drives. Don't want them going for runners in your first season. Once you start sending them runners, I've known dogs who particularly just pick runners, okay? And it can create unsteadiness, all right? Again, you want to work way back away from the guns, but you want to be rewarding them for being nice and calm. Sometimes take them off it. They don't need to focus on their ground because that could cause some frustration. Bring some dummies with you. See if they can pick up some dummies after the drive, because especially if it's a driven shoot, you won't be able to pick up unless it was a runner until after the drive is finished. Leave the runners to the dogs that know runners, okay? Maybe say to the other guys who picked up, or you see one down, can I take that and get your dog used to it on the first one? Just mooch around and then give them a break, okay? They don't need to do every drive. You don't need to send them for every bird, because if you send them too much, they become unsteady, because you're also wanting to work ideally off lead. Do have them on lead to watch in early stages, mooch about, and then line them up behind, away from the gun. So I'd go the opposite way to where the guns are forwards in front of you. Do a couple of trees, build value, and just build it up. You don't need to pick everything. Like I said, there's other dogs there that can do it. Yeah, so build it up. A couple of drives the first day, maybe one retriever in there, one of a dummy, one of a bird. Yeah, take the bird to your trainer if you're unsure how your dog will do. So, okay, so guys, can I take the bird back to my trainer? I'm not sure how they'll pick up on game. Okay, because you ideally want to see if they can pick game before they put it up, or they need to learn the value of bringing game back to you. Because some dogs, because the difference is, though, the only difference you'll find is even if they pick cold game, is warm game will slightly change them a little bit. Some might shake it, some might do this. You just got to work through that, okay? Doesn't mean that, oh no, my dog's going to eat the bird, okay? But if you've worked, ideally, you do want to work a bit on cold game training. So when you're out times you're out on your own without that young dog, you can take a bird, go back, see your trainer, or get some tights round it, whatever. Get them to pick it up. I start really close, sit them up, put them in front of them, bring them to me. So I build value in bringing that bird to me, okay? But again, I'm not in a rush to get the dog picking up every bird in its first early season, not with a novice dog, because the thing is, most people don't realise these dogs are not mature until well after 2. And if you've got your HPRs and your setters and all that, you're going to be longer. Yeah, every dog is different. Also, I've got boys, bloody hell, testosterone's flying everywhere. So some days they can manage, some days they can't manage. Yeah, so it's important you recognize all this is not just about the game exposure. This is about what is that dog's maturity level. So you're doing it in a way that that maturity level can do it. Because if you put a young dog on, they haven't got the capability and the maturity to deal with that. Okay. So it's so important you remember all these little things. Yeah. You've got to take your time. You don't need to rush them. All right. They're going to be with you for your life. If you want a long working life with that dog, take your time. Yeah, it will come. Your time will come where you can start doing every day. You can do full days, but you build them up gradually, like we do with our training. Build it up. Yeah. So find out what you want to do. Find that trainer that will help you understand your journey to get to that shoot. Don't just go, I've got a gun dog. I want to go shooting. I'm going to take it on a lead, but you haven't done anything with it. You just create a million problems. Yeah. Go and see somebody. Go and do it properly. If it's what you want to do, take your time. You might find that you like the training and you want to do it. There are also training shoots you can go on. Okay. So some people will have training shoots across the country where you can go and expose your dog without really, if something goes wrong, you've paid for the day for your training anyway. Okay. So it's finding what's right for you, what type of dog you have, what type of ground. You need to discover what your dog will suit. You're not going to, I'm not saying they can't do it, but your HPRs and that, they're not always going to suit these driven in tight woods because they range so much. You need to find, some can, I'm not saying they can't because I've got one who works on ours, but it depends on your dog. Find out, go and see that professional to get that help of what your goal is, when you're going to do it, what you're going to do. Okay. Because every element from trialing to test to shoots to this to picking up to beating to wildfowling, you need to have a lane of what you're going to do. You can do a bit of all because some dogs do, but you need to explain to your trainer that this is my goal, this is what I would do. Give me a good trainer will tell you when's the right time. A good trainer will tell you how to go on to it. A good trainer will give you the right tools to know how to get on it. I've had a couple of newbies gone out this season for the first time with their young dogs, and they've all, one's been 2, one's been 18 months, like I said, because I've told them not to rush it, and they've gone out and they've not overexposed the dog, they've not masked the dog to do too much, and they're really enjoying it because you're not putting yourself under that pressure to complete a day as well, because that is stressful in itself as well, because you're under pressure as well to perform as well as the dog. So to by taking the bit of control back and saying, this is what I'm doing my dog to people, be honest, this is what I want them to do. Not, you take that pressure off yourself, you only do a little bit and you can nicely build it. And it's nice to see them just slowly building the dogs in, and they're doing a little bit more every time because they haven't rushed it. Okay. And that's the difference. Don't rush it. See a good trainer, don't rush it. Get all the advice you can. I can only do so much on this video. And look after your dogs. Okay. Be ready. Have all your equipment. So make sure you have your first aid kits and stuff like that. So you want stuff in there. So you always want the first aid kit with you before you go shooting. You want food as well for energy, because sometimes they're going to need, and some of them need a bit more energy than others. So many people don't feed on an empty stomach. Don't do it. Okay, don't want maybe what full one, but trust me, especially if you're hunting, I've seen dogs that are not fed, and I know why people do it. The theory is if there's an accident operation, doesn't matter, right? You've got to make sure that dog is full of energy and full of fuel. It's a long day, you see. So really go to a good trainer. They'll explain everything to you. I really do put my foot down with my clients on mine who are going to go shoot, and take your bloody time. Don't rush it. Don't expose them. This is what I would personally do with your dog, because every dog is different. Your trainer will know your dog. Your trainer will look at your dog and go, that will suit that, that might not suit that. Don't do that with him, A, B, and C. Because if they're experienced with dogs, they will know what will happen with each dog. Yeah. So they will know which is the right journey, because every dog's journey is going to be so different. All right. So if you have any questions regarding what you want to do, or any questions about your dog's age, or anything regarding the shooting, like I said, I don't want to be here for, I could be here for quite a while talking about this subject. And you might be bored of me by now. um, it's it's yeah, you might be bored of me now. So yeah, ask me some questions if you want about shooting, if you've got any queries or anything. I've given a bit of a rundown of what my do's and don'ts are and what I like to people be aware of for the shooting field or whatever you're doing. So yeah, take your time, enjoy your dog. They're here for life. Yep. Don't ruin them early. The time will come. Get your training in, get your journey sorted, get your plans sorted, get what you want from your dog, get what you want from your trainer. This is what I want. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'd like to do. Your trainer will know then. If it's a good trainer, like I said, it'll know what it wants you to do and how to get you there. Okay. Enjoy it. And when you do go out, like I said, end of season is quite a good one for them because there's not a lot of birds. When you do, go and enjoy it. We need as much support in what we do as we can in this game. Have good people around you. Enjoy it. Take the day in it. Have a drink. There'll be a drink about, some food about. Enjoy yourself. Yeah. So that is me saying, when is my dog ready? Any thoughts or any questions regarding this video, please message me. Thank you again for listening. Hope you enjoy the next video that's coming up, which will be about memory retrieves, introduction to memory retrieves. And again, wish you all Happy New Year. Great to see you all. See you later. Bye.